I'll be now completing the factoring problems where we're dealing with perfect squared trinomials. And for these problems, you can definitely approach them by using the table method to start off. So the numbers that would go into your table are 25 and 10. So we need two numbers that multiply to 25, and those two numbers need to add to 10. So the numbers that come to my mind are 5 and 5. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 plus 5 is 10. And then we can set the brackets. And the numbers that I'll be using are plus 5 and plus 5. And for these particular problems, the only thing that's a little bit different is that since both of these binomials are exactly the same, you can simplify the problem by writing this as x plus 5 all to the power of 2, because those two binomials are the same. And that's the only different kind of technique or different kind of style to this particular problem, but the rest of the techniques are very similar to all your previous questions where you're factoring trinomials. All right, so for letter B, we can set up a table here, and the numbers are 16 and positive 8. And once again, we need two numbers that multiply to 16, and those two numbers need to add 8. So 4 and 4 come to my mind. So this would be x plus 4 and x plus 4. And once again, since the binomials are exactly the same, you can finish this off by writing x plus 4 all to the power of 2. For letter C, let's set up another table here. Here's a positive 36 and a negative 12. So we need two numbers that multiply to 36, and those two numbers need to add to negative 12 or combine to negative 12. So I'm thinking of negative 6 and negative 6. So this would be y minus 6 and y minus 6. And we can finish this off by writing this as y minus 6 to the power of 2. Okay, let's move on to letter D. For letter D, we still have a trinomial, so we can set up a little table here. There's a 9 and a negative 6. So we need two numbers that multiply to 9 and combine to negative 6. So negative 3 and negative 3 are two numbers that would work. All right, so now we would set up the brackets. Now we have to be a little careful here because there's y to the power 4, so I need a y to the power 2 here and a y to the power 2 there, because y to the power 2 times y to the power 2 would give you y to the power of 4. And then I can put the minus 3 in here and the minus 3 in there. And I can finish this off by writing y squared minus 3 all to the power of 2. And that would finish the factoring for that problem. Now for letter E, I do have a coefficient of 2 at the front, so I can factor that out because that is a GCF. So let's go ahead and factor out the greatest common factor, which is 2. And if I do that, I am dividing every single term by 2. And this would give me x squared. 28 divided by 2, this expression right here is going to be 14, so negative 14x. And 98 divided by 2 is going to be plus 49. Okay, so once we factor out the GCF, which was 2, we can then go ahead and go to the table method, and I need two numbers that multiply to 49, and those two numbers need to combine to negative 14, and the two numbers that come to my mind are negative 7 and negative 7. Alright, so we can finish off the problem by writing out two brackets, and then x minus 7 and x minus 7. And finally, we can finish this off by combining these two brackets there as x minus 7 all to the power of 2, because those two brackets are the same. Okay, let's move on to the very last question for this homework video guide. Let me just erase that table there. And for this particular problem, if I take a look at the 3, the 30, and the 75, the biggest number that divides all three of those numbers at the same time is 3. Usually your greatest common factor is the leading coefficient. So then we can divide every single term by 3 because we're factoring it out. Alright, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, so this will be x squared. 30 divided by 3 is 10, so negative 10x. And 75 divided by 3 is 25, so plus 25. And now we can finish off by creating a little table here. The last number here is 25. The middle number here is negative 10. So two numbers that would work are negative 5 and negative 5. So this would be 3x minus 5, x minus 5 for the factoring. And to complete the problem now, you just write one bracket with x minus 5 raised to the power of 2. Alright, so that concludes this homework video guide.